Yo, welcome along to a quick little tutorial on how to prepare your projects for collaborations using Ableton Live. First things first, you want to check with your Ableton Collab buddy that your Ableton versions are the same. If not, it could not go that well. Ableton project files are not backwards compatible. Say if you're working on a track using Ableton 11 and then you send that project file to someone who has Ableton 10, they're not going to be able to open it. So you got to make sure they have 11 or make sure that you're both sticking to Ableton 10. But with that being said, you probably know by now Ableton comes in 3 different versions: light, standard, and sweet. That could lead to a little bit of a headache as well. For example, this is a track I made in Ableton 10 sweet, running no problems whatsoever. Now if we try to open that exact same project with Ableton 10 intro, it will come up with this, which this set contains features that are limited to or unavailable in Ableton Live 10 intro. Let's just continue for the sake of it. And if we go into different channels, I kind of just blanked out here, but I mean, EQ3 is here. We don't have EQ8, but we have EQ8 over here quite a few times. The track's sounding alright, but we'll go ahead and try to save it. Saving and exporting are currently deactivated. So yeah, it's missing a bunch of Ableton Suite features, but the jump from Ableton Standard to Suite isn't that big of a distance than Suite to Live Intro or Live Light. So if somebody's jamming Standard and somebody's jamming Suite, Ableton's got a massive list on their website comparing features of different live versions. Operator is there and working, but I feel like when we go save it, yeah, saving and exporting currently deactivated. Yeah. So using standard and sweet I think is okay. Be mindful of the features you use, make sure they're compatible. Anyway, once you've figured out what versions of Ableton you're going to be jamming, the standard, sweet, mixture of both, live intro, whatever, the next thing you want to do before sending your project over to your collab buddy is a little bit of common courtesy. You know, maybe chuck your channels in different groups and color coordinate them so they're nice and easy to understand on the other side once they get the project file. The next thing you want to sort out with your collab buddy is what third-party plugins you're going to use. For example, Serum or Massive or FabFilter plugins, Ozone, a bunch of those different ones that don't come with Ableton Live out of the box. But fear not, if you have Serum and the other collab buddy doesn't have Serum, there is a way to work around it, and that is with freeze and flattening. So for example, here's a bit of Serum right here, but your collab buddy doesn't have Serum. That's completely fine. We can go to this channel that's containing Serum, right click, freeze track. And essentially what freezing does is it freezes, it bounces the track to audio but retains all of its settings. So your collab buddy can open up the session and see this blue channel now, but still hear exactly what's being played. So it will still work on their version of Ableton Live, and you can go ahead and do this for all your third-party plugins. It doesn't have to be instruments. Say if you've got a big old Ozone at the end of one of your channels, you can still freeze flatten that. It's a brilliant feature. It means they can still hear exactly what's going on in the track. If the channel has effects on it like this EQ8 or the saturator, they can't edit that unless they unfreeze it, but they don't have Serum, so it's not gonna work. So there's a little bit of limited functionality. You can still do volumes and sends and whatnot, but inside this track it's frozen, you can't untouch it, which is good. So when they work on the track and then send it back to you, you can just go unfreeze that, and you have all the functionality again. You can draw MIDI, you can go back into Serum. It's like it was never frozen, but then once you go and send it back to them, right click, freeze track, it will be bounced to audio, but it will retain its settings once again. But what if you're happy for the sound, for example, and you want them to edit it? Once a channel is frozen, it can then be flattened. So this means, boom, it goes to audio. You lose your Serum and all the effects that were on it, but now it's purely audio and in waveform. And I mean, you can edit this now, go into it, reverse it, warp it, etc, etc. Once you flatten after freezing though, that's it. You can't undo it and you can't go back to the original Serum. So flattening after freezing is a commitment. So once you've gone ahead and frozen the channels that need to be frozen, maybe flatten a few as well, it is time to send the project file. So what you want to do is not save it, you want to collect all and save. This will bundle up all the samples you've used, all the recordings, all the freezings, and put them into a simple folder which you can send to your collab buddy. I usually have yes selected for everything where it's pulling the samples from, just to make sure, and go okay. Once that's done, you have a nice little folder here that contains your backups, all your samples that you've used inside the project, anything you've frozen, anything you've recorded, etc, etc, and then they can go ahead and double click this and open up the project file. Don't send them just this Ableton Live set file right here. Send them the whole folder that contains the project file, backup, presets, samples, info, etc, etc. If you just send them the file, it ain't gonna work, chief. Then send them the whole folder through Google Drive, Dropbox, Mediafire, WeTransfer, I don't know, whatever file sharing service you want to use. Then hopefully they should have a full functioning project file to work on, and then do the exact same steps that we covered before of freezing specific channels and then doing collect all and save, then sending the project back to you and keep on going until it's done. Super easy and convenient. Thankfully, Ableton has thought of everything. So yeah, hopefully you found this helpful. Leave a like if you did, and I'll catch you guys later. Have a great day and peace.